please put your hands together for our third and final speaker, Nafanuatele.
Yeah, tsara falava. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to speak to you this evening, especially alongside these two amazing Tamaita'i Samoa. Can we just give them another big round of applause? I think the blurb has covered everything I wanted to say tonight, so I can just pretty much sit down. But thank you. Yes, I am a teacher of Samoan language. And so being a teacher, you know, us teachers, I thought I would not only share my journey, but make this an interactive and educational experience, hopefully, for all of you as well. So you'll see that there are some bits of paper that have been passed around on the table. I know I'm using my teacher voice now. And so the papers are parts of a whenua inga, which you have heard different versions this evening as you've been greeted by the different speakers tonight. So my aim is that as I take you through my journey, that you will learn, you will learn a greeting or a version of the greeting that we call a whenua inga. So the different sections are translated so that it will help you understand as we go through this exercise. The first phrase I want you to find, and then put it wherever you want to put it, okay, is whawhitai mo lau wanoa. This phrase acknowledges the opportunity that one has been given to speak. And as a Samoan, first and foremost, I acknowledge God, because God gave us this unique, beautiful, and rich language, culture, and identity. I also acknowledge my parents, who laid the foundation of faith, culture, and language for myself and my siblings. In particular, my father, which was mentioned in the blurb, or in the bio, whatever that is, Aftoto Mafaufau. Yes, he was a teacher, and he knew the value of language and culture for his children who were born in this country and were going to be raised in this country. And so it was his legacy that was one of the main motivation for me to develop my understanding of Gagana Sāmoa and of our culture. Although he died when I was 11 years old, I have tried in my journey to continue that legacy as my honor to my dad. He always said, you will always know English because you live in this country, you're surrounded by the language. But you may not have Gagana Sāmoa unless you use and practice it in your daily life. The next phrase, if you can find it, o te mua I whātulo watu, I le paia ma le mamalu ua potopoto, tūlou lau tū, tūlou lau tautala. When we say this, we show our understanding of our culture and our cultural protocol, as you may have already heard mentioned in other speeches tonight. Whaasamoa is based on whaaloalo, respect. And so in our language and culture, we apply respect in how we sit, stand, walk, and talk. However, people will have different perspectives of Whaasamoa depending on their experiences. I have taught at secondary school level in New Zealand and in Samoa, and also in the community to adults. And what I have learnt and observed is that we may all have similarities, but depending on factors such as age, gender, location, and others, these may influence how we view Whaasamoa. So when I ask you, what is Whaasamoa in your perspective? And what does it mean to you? if you were to share with others on your table, which the MC might get you to do after this, you may find that people have different perspectives. For many teenage students that I've taught, and they were females, they questioned, why do we do this? And why is it so unfair that the boys get to do this and we don't get to do that? But they, of course, were seeing our culture through their experience. And what I was mindful of is that this may determine how they would apply Waka Samoa in their adult lives. And as my mum always says, e sa'o lava le tangata I ona manatu. Everyone is right in their own perspective. So hearing people's perspectives and helping to clarify these perspectives has been an approach that I have taken and applied in my teaching. And especially now as I am doing my community service, and I hope that doesn't sound negative, through Nafanua communication and culture. The next phrase, just checking that you're listening, o outou sa mawhainga, o le a le o iai se upu, a wā e lave lave mawhainga tā, a le anu nuu atuia whaatini o tausala. Oh, that's a complex phrase, huh? It seems very strange and unfamiliar to some because it is not a phrase that we use in our everyday communication. And this is how amazing Samoan language is. We have everyday language, we have respectful language, and we have oratory language. And each of them have a place and a purpose. Statistics will show that as great as our language is, it is declining. And I said that dramatically for a reason. Because it is affirmed by the number of our younger generation who haven't been blessed with the opportunity or the environments to learn and use our language. And so as we head into Samoan Language Week and we celebrate the 60th anniversary of Samoa's independence, our challenge is to revitalize and maintain our language, not just for 1 week, but for every day, every week, or as much as we can. I'm humbled to be able to teach online now to people in America, Japan, Korea, England, France, Alaska, Australia, and all over Aotearoa who are desperate to learn and speak Gagana Sāmoa. The next phrase, e sanga vi ia pea le alofa o lo tātou tamā o le langi, ua tātou whailoa I ai I le male manuia. So this section is a section of thanksgiving, and it reminds us to be proud of who we are, our ancestors, our history, and our identity. As I mentioned, speaking Samoan was, as a young person, was normal for me. However, back then, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, it was not always cool to be Samoan or to speak Samoan. And I feel that there is aspects of that still today. People would mock or tease me for being too whobi or too serious about Waka Samoa. I experienced the stigma that stems from stereotypes and racism, and excuse my pronunciation of that, and from my own peers, which was projected on ourselves as Samoans as we put ourselves down as a way to deflect how we are being treated by others. And as a teenager, this was challenging. But if anything, it made me more determined to be more loud and proud of my language and culture. As I mentioned, my motivation was more than just speaking my language and culture. So there was judgment if you were too Samoan or not Samoan enough. But in my journey growing up in the Vaka Talk church, I just wanted to mention my church because I heard another church earlier. Yes? All right. Thank you. That one person is Vaka Talk here. I'm mindful we're in Elam. Yes, okay. Move on. Teaching in Samoa and teaching in New Zealand and now teaching to many people who are Samoan and non-Samoan, the focus is on creating a safe space for everyone to embrace and engage with our language and our culture that's relevant for those of us who are outside of Samoa. Because there is a difference in terms of learning Samoan language and culture in Samoa and learning it outside in the diaspora. So acknowledging the gift of Gagana Sāmoa and holding true to the values that bind us as Samoans. Language has provided for me many opportunities to share our ngangana in different spaces, ones that I never thought that that would be possible. You know that line, don't break them or I'll break you. Thank you, there's been a few people that have seen that, okay. All right, so being able to say that in a film, but also being asked to translate scripts, to give cultural advice, and also being here tonight. These are all due to my knowledge of Samoan language. And I'm blessed to also be one of the managers, as mentioned, of the Pacific Languages Unit. It's a new unit within the Ministry for Pacific Peoples, and let's just give a shout out to them that are sitting here. Yes, thank you. But being in this Pacific Languages Unit, we are trying to help ensure that not only Gagana Sāmoa, but all other Pacific languages are going to be able to be maintained and sustained for the future generations long after we aren't here. O te whaawhiloa I atu, ma le anganga whaaloalo. O a'ua Nafanuatele Lafitaga Mafaufau-Peters. Ma alo le soifua maua, ma le langi e mama. Thank you to those who are picking up the last bit of paper and putting it in order. All right, so now you have put together a whelua inga. And we're just going to test how well your listening skills are. And I'm going to go through the whelua inga, and I just invite you to repeat after me. Whaafitai mo la'ua wanoa. O te mua I whaatulo watu. I le paia ma le mamalu ua au fia. Tulou la utu. Tulou la utautala. O outou sa mawhainga. I like how the intonation's going up and down. O le ale o I ai se upu. Awa e lave lave mawhainga tā. Ai nuu atu ia. Paatini o tausala. E sangavi ia pea le alofa. O lo tātou tamā o I le langi. Ua tātou wheloa I ai. Ma le manuia. O te whaawheloa I atu. Ma le anganga whaaloalo. Ma lo le soifua maua. Ma le langi e mama. High five the person next to you and give yourselves a round of applause. So there you have it. It has been a blessing to share this evening. And as I am the last speaker, I know that we're going into a panel discussion. I just want to echo the messages and the sentiments of whanoti and lanatina, our gratitude for all of you being here tonight. As you also value and prioritize Samoan language, culture, and identity, or identity and success. Whawhitai atu I lau tō whā, moi fia inu, Daisy. Ia e teina ne fo'i, le whawhonga o le aso, Lawa fionga le pule a onga, Maria le malie. Whapea foi le tau au waa, mo le neia vanua e whaasoa atuai. Whapitoa se whawhitai, i le paia ma le mamalu o le tātou whaatasinga nei. Mo le whaafonga mai, ma le amana ia o i mātou o au na whaatawaa. O se toi upu, a tatala le filia lii, batu ua ma le fua. Ia lofa le atua, ia vailua tutusa, so tātou manuia. Ma ia tai file mu e outou, ia inga ma lalafanga. Ia manuia le tātou pō soifua.